Welcome to lesson 7.8 on addition of positive and negative numbers. Our objective in this lesson is how do we add and subtract negative numbers. And you can see my negative number line, my negatives and positives, and we're going to talk about how we add them or combine them, negative, positive numbers, and we're going to talk about less than and greater than as well. So let's get started. In our mental math today, all I want you to do is put in whether it's greater than or less than, and obviously when they're both positive, we're just looking at them saying which one is greater. And so if I look at this one here, obviously 71 is greater than 19. So I know that. Now remember, if I have negative 93 and negative 78, I have to remember negative 93 is less than negative 78, okay? Even though we talk in terms of money, remember on the number line, if it's to the left of it, it is less, okay? And I would like you to finish these up now. 83 greater or less than negative 36, negative 42 greater than or less than negative 82, negative 65 less than negative 54, negative 41 greater than or less than negative 51, and 77 and 45. And then we'll keep going here. And then 12 and negative 2. Greater than and less than, okay? So we were starting right there with those. And hopefully we can see them all. And I got them all on the same page for you. Just remember, write greater than or less than. Write the numbers too. Write 83 and 36 so I remember which numbers are which, okay? Great. Okay, so let's keep going in our lesson. Let's go to here. Oops, let's move this back. So today we are going to talk about using positive and negative counters to calculate account balances. And I want to look at this first, and it says we're going to use with hypothetical account balances using credits and debts. Debt meaning you're in the hole, credit meaning that's good, okay? That means you have money in your account, okay? So we're going to be using hypothetical scenarios, but I want to read this to you first. An account is said to be in the black if there is more cash than debt in the account, meaning the balance is positive. It is said to be in the red. Let me move this down here so you can see it. It is said to be in the red. Whoops, sorry about that. When there are more debts than cash, you have a negative balance, which is never really a good thing. So let's finish reading this here. Oops, sorry. I'm having a few technical issues here with my thing. So can you relate this knowledge? Oops, sorry. It says, can you relate this knowledge to the idea of Black Friday shopping? You want to be in the black, so if you're going to be shopping, you definitely want a positive balance. So let's go back up here. Let's move our little chart back here. Get back on here and slide this up a little bit. And let's take a look at this, okay? So it says Jane has $4 in cash and no debts. So we know Jane has $4 right now in her account. Let's look here. Jane earns $3 toward her account. What are you at right now if Jane earns $3 more? Had 4, no debts, and now she earns 3 more. Please write down number 2 and put in total by number 2 when you bring it in. Number 3, Jane writes a check for $8. Okay, she's paying somebody now, so she's taking money from her account. What is she at right now? And finally, is her account positive or negative? So if you write down the answer to number 3, then you're also going to write down is her account. You're going to write positive or negative. So we knew she started with 4. She earns 3. So what is her account at in number 2? She writes a check for 8, which leaves her account with what? And then is her account positive or negative right now? That's what I want you to think about. And then finally, show a number model for this problem. So see if you can write a number model for this problem with 4, 3, and 8. See what you come up with. Okie doke. Let's keep moving. Okay, so finally it says use plus and minus counters. Each plus counter represents $1 of cash on hand, and each negative counter represents $1 of debt. What I want you to do with this is just write pluses and minuses on a piece of paper. That'll be the easiest way, and that will help you. In class, we'll use the red and yellow tokens, and that'll help you too. Your account balance is the amount of money that you have or that you owe. If you have money in your account, your balance is in the black. If you owe money, your account is in the red. Suppose you have this set of counters. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plus counters and 3 minus counters. What is your account balance? If I have if I have 5 plus and 3 minus, what is my account balance right now? Are you in the red or in the black? Okay. Now it says use plus and minus counters to show an account with a balance of plus 5. Draw a picture of the counters below. So what are you going to do to make that possible? Okay, and then here's, and here's what I'd like you to work on for class then. Oh, having problems here. All right, so it says I have 8 positive plus 2 negative counters. You can draw them if you like. That seems like it's easier to do. Cross them out. Remember, positive and negatives, kind of like in a battery, they cancel each other out. Then they kind of cancel each other. If I have a positive and a negative, you're going to cross one out. So I have 8 positives and negatives. Remember, the more you have of one, so if I have more positives, my number is going to end up positive. If I have more negatives, my number is going to end up negative. Now, if I'm combining negatives, I'm just going more in the whole, like in number 2. Negative 4 plus a negative 5. Well, what's 4 plus 5? 4 plus 5 is 9, but I need a negative 9 because they're both negative. Now in number 3, I have 7 positive counters and 3 negative. So if I drew, and I'm going to do this for you so that you can kind of see it. If I draw right here, if I draw on my board, here, I want to make sure I'm doing this correctly so you can kind of see it. If I draw on my board 7 positive counters, I'll get them over here. So I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And then I need to take away 3. So I'm going to take the red. I'm going to take away 3. 1, 2, and 3. How many am I left with? 1, 2, 3, 4. And so then I look and say, am I positives or negative? And I have more positives. So the answer on the line would be 4. And on this line, I know it's negative 9. I think the plus and minus counters really help. Okay, again, I have more positives than I have negatives, but if I write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And this time, if I cross off 2 of them, how many am I left with? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm left with 6 positive. So here's what I would like you to try then for your homework. I would like you to try numbers 4 through 11. We're just going to do 4 through 11. So I have 50 positives and 30 negatives. Now you're more than welcome to write down positive and negative counters if you'd like. Otherwise, think about what do you have more of, and if you have negatives and positives, they're kind of canceling each other out, okay? If you have the same amount, if you have both negatives, you're just going in the hole that much more, and it stays negative. If you have both positives, it stays positive. Hopefully that makes a little sense for you. Okay, let's go back and review our concept here. It says, how do we add and subtract negative numbers? And I think we've done that. So we're doing addition of positive and negative numbers. On our second part, you were supposed to go through and just write down greater than or less than. You had 4 problems there. Remember to write the numbers. So I would write 83 greater or less than negative 36 and write that on the line. And then in this problem, on the second page, you were supposed to write down, we did the first one together, Jane has $4 in cash and no debts. She earns $3 toward her account. So what is she at in number 2? Then she writes a check for 8. Is her account positive or negative? Okay. And show a number model for that. So try to do that. All right. And then finally, on the last page, you did some problems. Okay. So let me move this a little bit for you. Whoops. You might want to erase that so you guys can actually see it here. But